There are truths so heavy they can crush a soul. Secrets kept for decades that, when finally brought to light, hold the power to destroy everything we thought we knew, or to heal wounds that bled silently through an entire lifetime. This is the story of a woman who protected her son with silence, of a man who sought justice without knowing he faced his own blood, and of a destiny that waited for the precise moment to reveal a truth that would change everything. In a hospital room, while machines mark each heartbeat like a countdown, Catherine Morgan holds her son's hand and knows the moment has arrived. The moment to release the weight she has carried for 42 years. The moment to tell him that the man he just defeated in court, the powerful rancher he exposed as an exploiter of workers, is the father he never knew. Can a son forgive 4 decades of lies? Can a father accept that his own blood has judged and condemned him? Does love have the power to survive when truth arrives too late? Stay with us through this story that will remind us how sometimes the silence we believe protective is merely a prison that traps everyone. We invite you to stay until the end of this tale, and to share in the comments if you have ever kept a secret that weighed too heavily, or if you have discovered a truth that changed everything you believed about your own life. Your experiences can be light for others walking similar paths. The constant beeping of the heart monitor marks the rhythm of a life slowly fading. Catherine Morgan, a 66-year-old woman whose face bears the marks of decades of relentless work, lies in the hospital bed with her eyes fixed on the white ceiling, as if the words she must speak before it's too late were written there. Beside her, in an uncomfortable plastic chair, Michael Morgan reviews documents from his most recent victory. At 42, he's one of the most respected attorneys in the region, known for defending ranch workers against abusive employers. On his lap rests the file from the case he just won, Workers of Crawford Ranch versus William Crawford, the most powerful rancher in the county. The victory was decisive. The judge ordered compensation in the millions, immediate improvements in workers' living conditions, and severe sanctions that shook the foundations of Crawford's power. Michael should feel triumphant, but his mother's illness overshadows any celebration. Michael, Catherine whispers with a weak voice. He immediately looks up, letting the papers fall onto the side table. He takes his mother's hand in his, noticing how much weight she's lost in recent weeks. "I'm here, Mom. Don't talk, you need to rest." "There's no time for rest, son." Her voice trembles, but there's determination in it. "There's something I must tell you. Something I've kept your entire life. If I don't tell you now, I'll take it to my grave, and that would be the greatest cowardice I've ever committed." Michael feels a chill run down his spine. He knows that expression on his mother's face, that mixture of fear and resolve that only appears when something truly important is at stake. "What is it, Mom? What are you talking about?" Catherine closes her eyes for a moment, gathering strength. When she opens them, tears shine in them. "That case you just won, son. That man you faced in court. William Crawford." She pauses. Her breathing accelerates. "I need to tell you a story that began more than 40 years ago. A story of love, of injustice, and of a secret that has shaped your entire existence without you knowing." Michael feels his heart beat faster. There's something in his mother's tone that tells him what he's about to hear will change everything. "Promise me you'll listen to the end without interrupting." "Promise me, Michael." "I promise, Mom." And so, while the afternoon sun filters through the hospital window, Catherine Morgan begins to tell the story she has kept for 42 years. "It all began when I was 16, son. My father, your grandfather George, worked as foreman at Crawford Ranch. He was an honorable man, respected by all, who had given us a modest but dignified home on the boss's land." Catherine's voice takes on a nostalgic tone as she relives those days. "It was in those fields where I met William. He was 17, the only son of the boss, Mr. Robert Crawford. When we were children, those class differences didn't matter. We played together, shared secrets under an old cottonwood tree on the property. He taught me to read, I taught him to recognize the field plants. We were friends. Michael listens motionless, his mind already beginning to connect dots, forming an image that terrifies him. But children grow up, friendships transform. At 16, I no longer saw William as a friend. And he looked at me in a way that made me feel I was the most important person in the world. We fell in love, Michael. A pure, sincere, impossible love. We met in secret. He wrote me letters that he hid in the hollow of the tree. I embroidered handkerchiefs with his initials. We were young, naive, believed that love was enough to overcome any obstacle. How wrong we were. Catherine's breathing becomes more agitated. The heart monitor accelerates its rhythm. One July afternoon, we were under our tree when his father discovered us. Mr. Robert Crawford was a cruel man, obsessed with name and power. He caught us kissing, and what followed? Tears rolled down her cheeks. That man's screams echoed throughout the entire ranch. He called William a traitor. Called me things a woman should never hear. William tried to defend me. He told his father we loved each other, that he wanted to marry me. But Mr. Robert slapped him so hard it knocked him to the ground. And while his son bled in the dust, he pointed at me and said, "You and your father have until dawn tomorrow to leave my property. If I ever see you again, you'll regret being born." Michael feels rage growing in his chest, but keeps his promise of silence. My father, your grandfather George, begged on his knees. 20 years of faithful service meant nothing. They threw us out like dogs. And all the workers witnessed that humiliation. The most respected man on the ranch, reduced to nothing in minutes. We left at dawn the next day. We walked for days until we reached Riverside, the town where a distant cousin gave us shelter. And it was then, 2 months later, that I discovered I was pregnant. The words float in the air like stones falling into water, creating ripples that expand and transform everything in their path. Pregnant with William's child. I carried within me a life that was the fruit of the only true love I had known, but also living proof of everything we had lost. I sent William a letter telling him about the pregnancy. I never received a response. For months I waited, checking every day if something had arrived. But the silence was absolute. Years later I learned that Mr. Robert intercepted my letter and all the ones William tried to send me. They kept us separated with lies. Isabel pauses, gathering strength to continue. You were born during a terrible storm, son. We didn't have money for a hospital. Your grandfather George had to help me himself in that miserable room where we lived. It was the longest and most painful night of my life. But when I held you in my arms for the first time, when I saw your eyes, I knew every drop of pain was worth it. You had William's eyes. The same jawline. The same hands. You were his son, there was no doubt. And in that moment I made a decision. I would protect you from the truth. I would give you a better life than mine. You would never know the pain of being rejected for carrying blood considered inferior. Michael feels tears burning his eyes. Your grandfather worked until his body couldn't take any more to feed us. I worked 3 jobs, washing, sewing, whatever it took. Every dollar we saved for your education. Because we decided you would be someone, that you would have what we never had. Dignity, education, a future. When you were 7, you asked me about your father. It was the most difficult day of my life. I told you he had been far away, in a world different from ours. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. And every year that passed, the secret grew bigger, more impossible to reveal. Catherine coughs violently. Nurses enter briefly, check her vital signs, withdraw with compassionate looks. You became everything I dreamed, son. A man of principles, a defender of the weak, someone who fights against the injustices I myself suffered. And when I learned you had taken the case against William Crawford, my heart broke in two. Because the man you faced in that courtroom, the man you exposed for exploiting his workers, the man you defeated brilliantly, that man is your father, Michael. William Crawford is your father. The silence that follows is absolute. The world seems to stop. Michael remains paralyzed, unable to process what he just heard. William tried to find me after his father died 20 years ago. By then, I had moved several times, had changed my last name to protect us. He never found me. And I never tried to find him. I was too afraid, too proud, too resentful for the years they stole from us. But now, seeing how destiny put you face to face in that courtroom, how you confronted your own father without knowing it, I know I had to tell you. William deserves to know he has a son. And you deserve to know where you truly come from. Michael finally finds his voice, broken by emotion. Why, Mom? Why did you never tell me? Because I wanted to protect you from rejection, from the pain of being considered less than others because of your origin. Because I feared William would reject you like his father rejected us. Because... Her voice breaks. Because I was a coward son. And now, when it's too late, I understand that silence has only hurt us all. The machines begin to beep alarmingly. Nurses rush in, pushing Michael out of the room. He remains in the hallway, his world completely destroyed, with a truth that changes absolutely everything he believed he knew about himself. Michael remains in the hospital hallway for hours, unable to process the magnitude of what he just discovered. His mother finally stabilizes. Doctors allow him to return, but they warn him her condition is critical. Every moment could be the last. When he enters the room again, Catherine looks at him with eyes full of pleading and fear. Fear of his rejection, of his anger, of losing her son just when she has finally told him the truth. "I'm not angry with you, Mom," Michael says, though his voice trembles. "I'm confused, shattered. My entire life I fought against injustice, defended exploited workers, and it turns out the man I hated most in my career is my own father. William wasn't like that when I knew him, son. He was a good young man, compassionate, who dreamed of changing things when he inherited the ranch. But his father destroyed him as much as he destroyed us. Cruelty is a poison transmitted from generation to generation. And what should I do now?" Michael's voice breaks. "Tell him I'm his son? The man I just publicly humiliated in court? The man whose reputation I destroyed in front of the entire region?" Catherine takes her son's hand with what little strength she has left. "That's something only you can decide, son. But know this. William tried to come back for me. He tried for years. The letters he wrote me, all intercepted by his father, I saw them later. He never stopped loving us, though he never knew you existed. He's not the heartless villain you think he is. He's a man broken by circumstances beyond his control." Michael stays with his mother until she falls asleep, exhausted by the effort of confession. As he watches her breathe with difficulty, he understands that time is running out. Not only for his mother, but for the opportunity to know his father. That night, alone in his apartment, Michael takes out a document he had saved from the trial. A photograph of William Crawford taken during one of the hearings. He studies that aged face, searching for similarities with his own. The same eyes, the same jawline, the same hands. How did he not see it before? He thinks about all the moments during the trial when their eyes met. There was something then, an inexplicable connection he attributed to the intensity of the case. Now he understands it was something deeper, more primal. It was the unconscious recognition of shared blood. 3 days after the verdict, Michael receives a call from the hospital. Catherine has suffered a complication. Her time is running out quickly. When he arrives, he finds something he never expected. William Crawford is in the waiting room. The rancher looks lost, defeated. The impeccable suit cannot hide that he's a man who has aged years and days. When he sees Michael, he stands up awkwardly. "Mr. Morgan, I heard in town that your mother was very ill. I don't know why I came. I just felt I should be here." Michael looks at him, this man who is his father without knowing it, and feels a mixture of emotions so complex he cannot name them all. "Why? Why would you come to the hospital of the mother of the man who destroyed you in court?" William looks directly into his eyes. "Because during the trial, every time I saw you, I felt something I couldn't explain. A connection, a recognition. And when I asked your full name, Michael Morgan, something inside me." He stops, his voice breaking. "Your mother's name is Catherine, isn't it?" The question falls like lightning. Michael nods slowly. "Catherine Morgan. Previously Catherine Taylor." The color drains from William's face. He staggers, grabbing the wall to keep from falling. "Taylor. Catherine Taylor. It can't be. After all these years. Your mother is Catherine Taylor? George Taylor's daughter who worked on my ranch over 40 years ago?" "Yes." William puts his hands to his face, and when he lowers them, tears are rolling down his cheeks. "I looked for her for decades. After my father died, I searched everywhere. I never found her. I thought maybe she had died, that I could never apologize, never tell her that I loved her every day of my life." He approaches Michael with uncertain steps. "And you have her eyes. And my nose. And the right age. My God, you're my son, aren't you? Catherine was pregnant when we were separated, I never knew." Michael feels all his defenses crumbling. "Yes, I'm your son. And I just destroyed you in court without knowing I was facing my own father." William collapses into a chair, his body shaken by sobs he has contained for decades. "I have a son. All this time I had a son and never knew. And that son." He looks up at Michael. "That son became an extraordinary man. A man who fights for justice, who defends the weak. The man I should have been." A nurse exits Catherine's room. "Mr. Morgan, your mother is asking to see you." And she looks at William with confusion. "She's also asking to see Mr. William Crawford." The two men exchange a look loaded with meaning. Together they enter the room where Catherine awaits them. Catherine watches the two men she loves entering her room together. Despite her weakness, she smiles. A sad smile, but also liberated. "William," she whispers. The rancher approaches the bed as if in a trance, falling to his knees beside her. He takes her hand with a reverence that speaks of a love that never died. "My hope. My Catherine. I searched for you for so long. Why did you hide from me?" "Because I was afraid," she responds weakly. "Afraid you would reject our son like your father rejected me. Afraid that pride and power were stronger than love. I was wrong, William. I was wrong not to give you the chance to know your son." William cries openly, kissing Catherine's hand. "I never married for love after you. My wife died years ago without me being able to give her what she deserved because my heart was always yours. I never had children with her because some part of me knew I already had a child somewhere in the world." Michael observes the scene, seeing the genuine love between these two people whom destiny cruelly separated. And something inside him begins to heal. "We both made mistakes," Catherine says, looking at her son. "I kept the secret too long." William allowed bitterness to turn him into the kind of boss his father was. "But now, before it's too late, I want you to know I love you both. And my greatest wish is that you find a way to be father and son." William turns to Michael, standing with difficulty. "I have no right to ask you for anything. You just discovered your father is the man you hated, the man whose cruelty you exposed to the world. And you were right in every accusation. I became my father, betrayed everything I once believed. But if you give me a chance, even just one, I'll dedicate every day I have left to being the father I should have been from the beginning." Michael looks at his mother, whose breathing becomes more labored. He looks at William, this broken man who shares his blood. And he makes a decision. "I'll give you that chance. But with one condition. You must not only comply with the court sentence. You must go beyond. You must transform your ranch into a place where workers are treated with dignity. You must honor the memory of what you and my mother had, ensuring no other family is destroyed by pride and class difference." William extends his hand. "I accept. For the memory of our love, for the lost years, for the opportunity to know my son, I accept." They shake hands, and in that moment Catherine closes her eyes with an expression of peace she hasn't had in decades. The machines emit a continuous beep. The two men turn to her, but it's too late. Catherine Morgan has departed, but she has done so knowing she succeeded in uniting the two people she loved most in this world. Catherine's funeral was simple but filled with love. All the workers Michael had defended over the years attended, townspeople who knew her as a humble seamstress, and to many surprise, William Crawford. His presence caused murmurs, but when the rancher approached the casket and placed upon it a wildflower, the same one he had given Catherine 43 years earlier under the cottonwood tree, some understood there was a deeper story. During his funeral speech, Michael spoke of his mother with words that broke hearts. He spoke of her sacrifice, of her strength, of how she had raised a son alone, giving him everything she didn't have. And at the end, with a trembling voice, he revealed the truth Catherine had kept for decades. "My mother kept a secret to protect me. A secret that weighed on her every day of her life. Today I want to honor her memory by revealing that truth. William Crawford is my father. And though circumstances separated us for 42 years, my mother's love for him never died. She dedicated her life to ensuring I had a future. Now it's my responsibility to ensure her sacrifice means something." The silence in the cemetery was absolute. Then, slowly, William approached his son and embraced him. It was the first embrace between father and son, and both cried without shame over the grave of the woman who had loved them both more than her own life. In the following months, William fulfilled his promise with a determination that astonished everyone. Housing for the workers was built in record time. Not simple structures but dignified homes with complete services. Wages tripled. A medical and educational fund was established for all families. But beyond material changes, there was a change in the man himself. William began walking the fields again, learning workers' names, asking about their families. At first there was distrust, but gradually they saw the transformation was genuine. Michael visited the ranch regularly, sometimes to verify compliance with the sentence, others simply to spend time with his father. Their relationship grew slowly, building bridges over decades of absence with honest conversations and comfortable silences. One afternoon, William took Michael to the old cottonwood tree where he had met Catherine. The tree was still there, centuries old and majestic, silent witness to a love that had survived time and separation. "This is the place where your mother taught me to see the world differently," William said, touching the rough bark. "Where we fell in love. Where we kissed for the first and last time before my father destroyed everything. I've protected this tree for 40 years, never allowed it to be cut down. It was my only link to her." Michael sat under the tree, in the same place where his mother probably sat decades earlier. "Tell me about yourself, Dad. About the young man you were before everything changed." It was the first time Michael called him Dad. William had to hold back tears. And there, under that witness tree, he told his son about his youthful dreams, about how his father had molded him with cruelty, about the years of bitterness that had turned him into someone he didn't want to be. Dear friends, if this story is touching your heart, We ask that you help us bring this message to more people. Leave a like if you believe that truth, though it hurts, is always better than silence. Subscribe to our channel for more stories about family, forgiveness, and redemption. Turn on the notification bell. Share in the comments if you ever kept a secret that weighed too heavily, or if you discovered a truth that changed everything. Your experiences can be light for others. Now, let's continue with this story that still has much to teach us. 1 year after Catherine's death, Crawford Ranch had become a model that other ranchers visited. It was no longer a place of exploitation, but of dignity and mutual respect. William had gone beyond what the court ordered, establishing a trust that guaranteed workers' rights even after his death. Henry Martinez, one of the workers who had testified at the trial, approached William one afternoon while he supervised construction of a new school. "Mr. Crawford, I want to thank you. My family has a real home now. My grandchildren go to school without having to work in the fields. It's more than I ever dreamed." William felt a lump in his throat. "Don't thank me, Henry. This is what I should have done decades ago. If anything, I'm the one who should apologize for the years of suffering. We all make mistakes, Mr. Crawford. What matters is what we do afterward. And you're doing the right thing now." William also began using his influence to promote changes throughout the region. He organized meetings with other ranchers, sharing what he had learned about treating workers with dignity. Not all listened, many criticized him for weakness, but some began implementing similar changes. The relationship between William and Michael deepened with each encounter. William taught him about the land, about ranch management. Michael shared with him legal cases he carried, asking his advice. Slowly, they were becoming what they always should have been: father and son. One night, during a dinner at the main house, William showed Michael a wooden box. "These are all the letters I tried to send your mother. My father intercepted them all. I found them after his death, stored with a cruel note. I've kept them all these years." Michael read the letters with tears in his eyes. Each one was a testament to the love William had felt for Catherine, of the pain of separation, of years of fruitless searching. "She never knew you wrote all this," Michael said. "She spent her life thinking you had forgotten her." "I know. And that's my greatest regret. But I want to publish these letters with your permission. I want the world to know our love was real, that we both fought. Perhaps our story can inspire others not to let pride and social differences destroy love." Michael nodded. "We'll do it together. And the proceeds will go to the Catherine Morgan Foundation, which I'll establish to provide free legal education to ranch workers." 3 years after Catherine's death, father and son stood together before her grave. They had commissioned a new headstone with an inscription both had written: Catherine Morgan, 1959 to 2025. Exemplary mother, eternal love, keeper of secrets. Her silence protected, her truth liberated, her legacy endures. Loved by 2 men who will never forget her sacrifice. "Do you think she watches us and is proud?" William asked, his voice broken. "I know she is," Michael responded, putting his hand on his father's shoulder. "Because we transformed her pain into something that helps others. Because her death wasn't the end, but the beginning of something better." The book they published, The Silence That Speaks Truth, a story of love and redemption, became a phenomenon. Thousands of people saw their own struggles reflected in Catherine and William's story. It inspired discussions about labor rights, class barriers, the true meaning of love and sacrifice. William had completely changed. The bitter man who exploited his workers had transformed into a respected community leader, an advocate for labor rights, a devoted father trying to make up for lost time. One afternoon, while father and son walked through the ranch fields, William stopped and looked toward the horizon. "I've left all this in my will for you, son. This land that witnessed so much pain will now be yours. But I want you to receive it knowing we've transformed it together. It's no longer a place of exploitation, but of dignity. I'll only accept it if you promise to keep fighting for justice, Michael said. Not just here, but throughout the region. My mother deserves that legacy. I promise you. And every day I have left, I'll honor her memory, ensuring no worker suffers as she suffered. They embraced under the evening sky, father and son finally united after decades of separation. The silence that had protected Michael his entire life had become a powerful voice crying out for justice, for dignity, for love. Catherine Morgan had departed, but her legacy lived in the dignified homes of workers, in children who could now go to school, in the restored relationship between father and son, in the thousands of lives touched by her story. Because sometimes the most painful silence can become the most powerful cry for truth, justice, and love that transcends all barriers. The secrets we keep to protect those we love can become chains that imprison us. But when truth finally comes to light, though it hurts, it has the power to heal and transform. It's never too late to do right, never too late for forgiveness,